Good morning, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Is everyone going to sit down?
Please come join us and find your comfy spot. We'll introduce drums and things and say hi and
Did everybody
get going.
do you have your list?
Come on in, take a breath, have a seat. It's Shabbat morning. I gave you a drum, your choice. Use it, don't use it. So all of the chairs have a drum. If the chair you're at has a drum that you're called to, fantastic. If you've brought a drum of your own and you want to use that one, likewise, fantastic. And if you want a different drum, feel free to move the one that's in front of your chair. I'm just going to invite you to consider, if you move one, move it with its case and move the other case back with you so that I know where they all are. It gets putting away them at the end easier. There we go. Look at that. Musical chairs and cases.
Maybe I'll put this here.
So I'm just so excited to be back here.
We love you.
When you're loved by an unending love. I love that.
And where's Ellen? Ellen, you inspired a drumming group
I
here.
know that's what I was going to say, but why don't we begin? You're going to do a little quick intro and something, and it just says you're going to intro. So.
Great. Well, I will just also say a huge thank you to Mitch. I think that you started here pretty much the same year that I did.
That's right.
I reeled you in all the way from the start, and I was one of the best things I've done.
Oh, that's very sweet.
As rabbi, only one. It's up there. And we just so appreciate you bringing this method of connection into our community and opening us up to the very many ways that we can have pathways into Judaism and into our own spirituality. And
Beautiful.
Just really giving us another example that after 4,000 years of history and tradition, there are so many pathways into our people and into our community and into our tradition. So it's just a huge blessing.
Well, thank you. What a very nice introduction too. I someday the secret will come out as to what the magic words that Jessica used to entice me to come, but I'm not going to do it here. Hopefully she doesn't remember too, but loved being here and continue to love to come here. And it's interesting you just said that, we go back 4,000 years with all these traditions. The tradition of playing drums in worship, tribal ceremonies, funerals, weddings, is absolutely fundamental to tribal culture. So when you go back to who the Israelites were before we left Egypt, before we got to Egypt, we were a tribe. And we talk about the 12 tribes and we talk about all of that. And there's actually history that goes back beyond 10,000, maybe as far as 20,000 years of drummers in tribal settings. You see friezes and statues and frescoes and paintings of the drummer. They're almost always playing a frame drum, a flat drum with one head, and it's almost always a woman. So the women held the ritual in those tribes. If there was going to be a wedding, if there was going to be a funeral, if there was going to be an emergency, whatever it was, the women managed it, brought their spirit to it, and it didn't stop. Even as we pulled a little further forward, we hear about, of course, the story from Torah of Miriam dancing with her timbrel when we crossed the sea. What an amazing experience it must have been to have that much feeling of joy, to finally step out of where you were, be chased by the Egyptians, cross a sea that seemed impenetrable. The sea closes and you're free. And the choice you make is to dance and play with the drum. Wow. Now, Miriam had that responsibility, we're told, and that she taught all of the women of the Israelites in Egypt to play the drums. We don't have an accurate census of the women. We know that there's a census of the men over 18, the fighting age men. And the census said somewhere around 600,000 men were part of leaving Egypt. And if we think about a nuclear family, that probably meant that there's a mom there too, and maybe a kid. So if you start doing geometrically the numbers, there's maybe 600,000 women leaving Egypt as well. And Miriam supposedly taught them all how to play the frame drum. So Miriam dancing with her timbrel is nice. Miriam dancing with 600,000 other women with their timbrels is absolutely extraordinary to me. And that the Midrash says one of the things they all prized so much was their drum, and they made sure they took it with them when they left Egypt. Now, supposedly, the jingle had not been invented yet on the timbrel, but we liked the sound of it, and so that has stayed with the story. The frame drum was probably closer to one of these than a tambourine, but we like the story of the tambourine, so keep it, and people like to put them into shapes of Stars of David and all kinds of things. The idea of decorating it and celebrating with it is so fundamental to Judaism that I find that for me, I need to respect that and to honor that as part of my leadership in any kind of worship. The women were sort of erased from that several hundred years ago when the church said women shouldn't play the drums or most other instruments, but especially the drums. And history gets rewritten. Another reminder that we need to be diligent about how history gets written. So the invitation is just to take a breath. We have all different kinds of drums here. I'm not expecting to turn anybody here into a master drummer. Not today. I'll start coming to the drum circle. We'll work on it there. And I'm so grateful that you all have started a drum circle and that somehow I inspired that. I'm just, I teach a class in 2 synagogues for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders on drumming to learn the blessings. And we do things as simple as, let's try it. We'll try it right here. If you have a drum or you have your lap or anything, we're going to say the blessing over studying Torah, which ends with La'asok b'divrei Torah. The important thing in every blessing is we all know the beginning of the blessing. It's either 3 words, 6 words, 10 words, and we tend to throw those words away. Like, the important part is La'asok b'divrei Torah. No, it's not. The important part is it's a blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. This has all 10 words in it, all the way to Vitzivanu, which means it's a commandment, right? The blessing with all the words means we're commanded to do this thing, whatever it is we're doing. Not just we're blessing that we're doing it, and we're blessing that we're being allowed to do it, but we're commanded to do it. And to learn sometimes by accident is such a helpful thing. And I think it also helps because, at least for me, we don't take the words for granted anymore. So I'm going to start the blessing. I'm going to start with Baruch. And then Beth is going to say the next word, Atah. And I'm going to play the drum for the number of beats in the word. And you're going to do the same on your guitar. So if it goes like that, it goes Baruch, Atah.
Oh, Baruch, Atah.
And you would play Adonai and say the word as you go. Eloheinu. Good. Eloheinu. One for each. There you go. One for each syllable. Melech. Ha'olam. Asher. Kidshanu. B'mitzvotav. Vitzivanu. La'asok. Again. B'divrei Torah. So then we just do it again.
Each word has a word.
Each word has some value, and you sort of get a sense of what we call decoding in school of each syllable that's there, and that for the prayer to talk, it doesn't go like this, Baruch, right? It's not how a prayer goes. You've got to keep it going as if it's one person. So let's try that one more time. Here we go. You all know where it is. And if we all say the words out loud, you'll remember what word comes next. If I asked you to say the prayer backwards, we'd never get there. But let's try it just forwards. Here we go. Baruch Eloheinu Melech Haolam Kiddushanu B'mitzvotav L'asok B'divrei Torah. So make sure it sounds like what it would sound like if you were talking. Right? So if the Vitzivanu isn't over yet, you can't L'asok yet. All right, one more time.
This is the
One more
perfect
time.
amount of people, you notice?
It is.
Yeah.
Here we go. Baruch
Atah
Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Shanu B'mitzvotav Tzivanu Asok B'divrei Torah. And in keeping that going, eventually what happens is you actually learn the prayer, and you're like, if somebody said to me, name the 18th letter of the alphabet, I've got to count all 17 letters to get there, right? I can't just go Q, and that's probably wrong, but I can't do it, you know. And when I ask you to say the prayer, what's the fifth word of the prayer? I don't know. I've only been saying this for 50 years, and I still don't know what numbers. But there's something about the flow of it, right? And then it can become a melody, and the prayer itself has energy. And we can feel it when we're playing the drum. Maybe I can then teach. This is a Baruch technique. Right? It's just two notes. Maybe this is an Eloheinu. Much like if you study Suzuki method, you've got Mississippi and hot dog, right? Why not have a Baruch and an Eloheinu, right? To teach rhythm. Sorry? If you can say it, you can play it.
This is so much fun for kids, too.
This is designed for kids, actually,
I know, but it's so
and
much
kids at
fun.
heart, right? And if you really challenge the kids, you can try supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Oh my God.
But that's much harder. Okay, so take a breath. Hinema tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. A lot of words. And in fact, I'm going to invite us, instead of achim or achio, let's try kulam. To bring us all into it, as opposed to the male or the female, which I'm particularly is on my mind today after a couple of things that happened yesterday. I'll chant it back. Once we've got it going a couple of times, let's add the drums in too. And I'll start with a bit of a heartbeat. Let's sing it a couple of times before we start heartbeating together. It also gives me a chance to decide if I don't like this beat or not, and I want to change it. Hine matovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Try.
Hine matovu manayim shevet achiot gam yachad.
Hine matovu manayim shevet kulanu ha'shabbat. Can't even get it out there. You know what I mean? Shevet kulanu gam yachad. Hine matovu manayim shevet kulanu gam yachad.
Hine matovu manayim shevet kulanu gam yachad.
Hine matovu
Right in the beginning, the first one.
shevet achim gam yachad. It's the very beginning.
Hine matovu manayim shevet kulanu gam yachad.
Behold how good this is. Try that. Behold how good this is. Behold how good this is. Behold how good. Back to the beginning. Hine matovu manayim shevet kulanu gam yachad. Man.
Hine matovu manayim
Listen to the drum. And breathe. And just keep the hard part going. And quieter. Until eventually you're playing it, but you're not actually hitting the drum. And take a breath. The other thing that I like to talk about when I'm leading worship is that very often we go through a service and it feels like we're trying to get through everything as fast as we can. The oneg is coming and we try to get through everything. We finish this, we start that. And so there's this sense of in-betweenness. Oh, we said the opening prayer, now we're going to say the next prayer, and I'm just going to waiting in between. To me, that in-betweenness is, some space here, is actually the place where all the work gets done. We just chanted together. Maybe we've reflected on our breath while we chanted. Maybe we feel what it feels like in our hands. Maybe we didn't get all the words, but we got some of them. Maybe we weren't sure why we tried achiot, achim, kulanu. Not quite sure why we did that. And hopefully, maybe the behold how good it is felt like a really abbreviated interpretation of the Hebrew. Maybe we're not even sure what the Hebrew says, but we feel like we're now in community. We're connecting by heartbeat to each other. And that centers us. That brings the community. It does what I call setting the field. It sets the field. And to me, that's so much what Shabbat is. So this space in between is when we get to think about that. Oh, my hands feel warmer. I couldn't breathe through that in one breath. I had to use two breaths. Why these English words and not other English words? This is where there's a little catalyst for thought, for exploration, for reflection on the prayer we just said. And that is what lifts us up into the next thing. The whole thing is under the arc of Shabbat, in this case, Shabbat morning. That's under the bigger arc of the Shabbat weekend, which is under the bigger arc of the whole week, and then separating into Shabbat. I'm often asked, when do I prepare for these kinds of programs? I'm playing drums in a Shabbat service somewhere every week. As soon as the last note of that Shabbat service is over, I'm preparing for the next one. My head is now moving forward into this week. I have Havdalah coming up. I have some things coming up to energize me. I think taking advantage of that 25 hours of what Shabbat is such a beautiful thing, a gift we give ourselves. Try to find part of it. Even if you find part of it for 5 minutes in the weekend, find that part of it. When Beth and I started talking about this, my idea was I wanted our service to be kind of an activation. There's a lot going on in the world, and it's confusing and overwhelming. It's maddening. It's exciting. It's distressing. And some people get overwhelmed by it. Sometimes you look at it and you say, I can't solve every single one of those problems. What's happening with SNAP? What's happening with airlines? What's happening with passports? What's happening with the economy? What's happening with,
Human rights.
sorry?
Human rights.
human rights,
Human
any of
rights,
these things, right? And when they well up, they kind of stop you from breathing through your day. Shabbat is that time to help you breathe through your day. The Dalai Lama, however, said something that I think is really beautiful. He put a quote out every day, think as you wake up. Today, I'm fortunate to have woken up. I'm alive. I have a precious human life, and I'm not going to waste it. And that's the invitation. It's been set to music. And I love this particular gentle song that says very much what a Modeh Ani would say. I woke up and I'm here. And I'm grateful to be here and to be alive. So we're going to experiment and try to roll Modeh Ani into this melody and see how that goes. This is the first place I've ever done it. So
Oh,
we're
you
going to
didn't
find
tell
out
me
how it
that.
goes. Of course, I don't tell you all these things.
Ah.
So we're going to give it a try. It's the first two, the second and third pieces on your sheet.
Yeah.
Okay?
We'll sing it. And
We'll sing it,
join
catch on. We'll do the English a couple of times before we even attempt to get to Modeh Ani.
Okay. Every day, think as you wake up. Today I am fortunate to have woken up. I am alive. I have a precious human life. And I'm not gonna waste it.
Let's try that together. Oh,
Every day, think as you wake up. Today I am fortunate to have woken up. I am alive. I have a precious human life. And I'm not gonna waste it.
oh,
Every day,
I think when you wake up.
today I am fortunate
to have
woken up. I am alive. I have a precious human life.
And I'm not gonna
Waste it.
Let's try that without the drums, just the voice.
Every day, think as you wake up. Today I am fortunate to have woken up. I am alive. I have a precious human life. And I'm not gonna waste it.
All right, let's add the drums back.
Every day, think as you wake up. Today I am fortunate to have woken up. I am alive. I have a precious human life. And I'm not gonna waste it.
All right, let's try Modeh Ani. Modeh Ani, Lifanecha. Grateful am I before you. Ani Lifanecha. I am before you. Let again. Here we go. Modeh Ani Lifanai. Grateful am I before you. Ani Lifanecha. I am before you. I am before you. I am before you. Now just our voices. I am before you. And take a breath. And feel the value of this in between. Even the way the handout is set up is you can't see everything we're doing next. So live in this moment. Feel what it's like to be in the moment. We don't do that very often. We always seem to be going somewhere. Be in the moment. This is your gift to yourself. Good. Go ahead.
We seekers of God, how do we find you? In good deeds and in the study of Torah. And your search for us. You find us in the bending of the knee, in the rigor of study, in the honesty of commerce, through a good heart, through decency, in respect, true fellowship, companionship, and love, through truth and peace, in the no that is really no, and the yes that is really yes. Baruch atah Adonai, Melamed Torah La'amo Yisrael.
Amen. Again, receive the words. Some of us are oral receivers. However that comes, it sinks in. Some of us are verbal receivers. Some of us are reading receivers. Think about how you're witnessing the words. If you have a song sheet, we're going to go towards, always go back to things, especially the non-prayer pieces. We're going to go towards Baruch Hu and Baruch Shema. It's in 3 parts. If someone feels called to sing the second part that Beth is going to sing, and make sure that we're holding that, hold it together with a small group of your colleagues here, and then she'll sing the third part on top of it. I'll hold down the low part, and if you like the low part, you can do the low part too. So you can take any part you like. You can do the high part if you like as well.
I'm just joking.
Okay, and we'll get to drumming in a minute, but we're just keeping ostinato going. Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. That keeps going. Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu. Keep that going. Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch. Any takers for that? Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. Go ahead. Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, 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 Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu. Now just the Baruch Hu's together. Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch, just this with us. Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo.
Blessed is the one who, through his word, Sha'amar, who spoke the world into being. Right? Okay.
Mm-hmm. So it's an abbreviation of the very beginning, the very end of the prayer, and gives us, again, a rhythmical place to enter into the prayer.
Oh, doing.
I'm reading small print.
Are we doing Shabbat?
I know you like Shabbat.
Are you doing Yishma Kol?
I thought I would do that one. Okay, let's do that one.
No.
We'll do that one.
Wait, we have to go. Remember, we go back for this one. Okay.
We might not go back for that one. We'll see. Nishmat Kol Chai, Tiveret Et Shimcha Adonai Eloheinu.
I gotta get it. We can skip that. You want to do that?
We're going to do that. We're going to do that. Again, it's all about breath. The breath of life. Nishmat Kol Chai. It's in two parts. The second part, we're going to just sort of lie, which is how it's written. Nishmat Kol Hai, as you learn it, just join in. Tiveret Et Shimcha Adonai Eloheinu. Again, Nishmat Kol Hai, Tiveret Et Shimcha Adonai Eloheinu. Yai lai lai, 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 lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. I probably picked a bad key.
I'll just start
Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai. Take a breath.
Let me just start.
Nishmat Kol Chai, Tiveret Et Shimcha Adonai Eloheinu. Nishmat Kol Hai, Tiveret Et Shimcha Adonai Eloheinu. Yada da da da, yada da da, yada Back to the top one more time. Nishmat Kol Hai, Tiveret Et Shimcha Adonai Eloheinu. Nishmat Kol Hai, Tiveret Et Shimcha Adonai Eloheinu. die, yai, die, die, die. And breathe. So there are certain drum techniques that we're not teaching a lot of. Basically, the low notes are in the middle of the drum, the high notes are closer to the edge. If your drum is elevated, it sounds better than if it's flat on the ground. If it's flat, I don't get the difference in the notes. Once I tip it, I get a real difference. And if you're going to tip it away from you, not towards you, because you end up with your hands this way, and that's going to be a problem for today. But in general practice, it would eventually not good for your hands. And if you're holding it flat like this, you're perfectly fine. You're all set. Every drum has its own energy. You might find in your drum that there's something about the way you play the head that maybe the spirit of the drum, that energy is you're feeling it up here. Maybe you're feeling it coming out from the bottom of the drum. It's a personal thing. When you find a drum that you like, I think like a guitar or anything else, it kind of tells you that it's the right one. And sometimes the first one you get is not that right one because you're trying to figure out how to use it in the first place. And when you have as many drums as I have, what starts to happen is people start giving you drums. And then there's a gift involved, there's the personality and all of this whole story now, which I feel like I have a responsibility to hold on to. So all of that enters into our circle when I come. I know the story of each of the drums that's here and why it's here and how I got it. And for many of these drums, they've entered into the circle for the very first time because they were just gifted to me, about 6 of them, by a drummer who's decided that she just can't keep doing all this. And so I now feel obligated to take care of them or find them a good home. If you're looking for a drum, let me know and we'll see if it wants a good home. But fundamentally, it's about how do we use that rhythm? And you'll notice I'm going to come back to the heartbeat almost all the time because that's fundamental to each of us. We all have one. It might have all kinds of affectations and other things that ultimately we come back to it. What makes a fire burn?
What makes a fire burn is the space between the logs, a breathing space. Too much of a good thing, too many logs packed in too tight can douse the flames almost as surely as a pail of water would. So building fires requires attention to the spaces in between as much as to the wood. When we are able to build open spaces in the same way we have learned to pile on the logs, then we can come to see how it is fuel and absence of fuel together that make the fire possible. We only need to lay a log lightly from time to time. The fire grows simply because the space is there, with openings in which the flame that knows just how it wants to burn can find its way.
It's one of my absolute favorite poems from the Siddur. Yeah, so we have an outline and we have a schedule and we have these beautiful things on here. And I love moving around. So it kind of depends on what we feel. So, yeah, let's go there. We'll do Unending Love. So, and the poetry and all that is not in your handout. It is Unending Love. It's called Ahava Rabbah.
A great love. Rav, like rabbi. A great love.
Ahava Rabbah. And the way we'll do this is we're going to sing the opening line, chant the opening line, and play drums. And then there's a paragraph. And the invitation will be for someone here to read that paragraph while we're not doing anything else. We're not going to play drums. We're not going to do anything else. We'll hold space. You read that line, and then we will start back in with the drums and with the line again. That'll happen 3 times.
Just a quick note, whoever's reading the third paragraph, it goes on to the next page. The last line is on the next page.
Good to know. Thank you. So take a breath. Again, let's start with a heartbeat. We'll sing it twice through. You can start it whenever you want to. Yeah. Find the pitch, yeah.
We are
Love,
love,
love, love, thy unending love and unending love. We are love, 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 thy unending love and unending love. And then someone choose to read the next paragraph.
first. Yeah.
We are embraced by arms that find us, even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered.
We are love, 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 by unending love and unending love. We are love, 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 by unending love and unending love. And someone else.
We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting.
We are love, 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 by unending love and unending love. We are love, 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 by unending love and unending love.
Embrace, touch, soothe, comfort. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smile. We are loved by an unending love.
We are love, 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 by unending love, an unending love. We are love, 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 by unending love. Couple more times. Unending love. We are love, 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 by unending love and unending love. We are love, 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 by unending love and unending love. So we're going to move around a little bit in our book here. We're going to rise for the Baruch. We'll stay there for the Shema and Via Hafta. You don't have the Siddur, but you probably know it. If you don't, follow along. We are. And then we're going to dive into the English, which you do have. So we're going to do a little bit of both. So let's rise for the Baruch. The language might be a little different than you know. It's only 4 words and then a sentence. And I don't think it's in the book at all because I didn't write it down. It's not there. So here we go. So just repeat after me. Baruch Hu, dear one,
Dear one,
Shekinah,
Shekinah,
holy name,
holy name.
When I come to the light of my soul, I come home. Let's try that. When I come to the light of my soul, it's not in the book. I come home with the bowing and the choreography. Here we go. Baruch Hu, dear one,
Dear one,
Shekinah,
Shekinah,
holy name.
holy name.
When I come to the light in my soul, I come home. One more time. Baruch Hu, dear one,
Dear one,
Shekinah, holy name.
holy name.
When I come to the light of my soul, I come home. Why don't you lead Shema?
Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Have a seat. And actually, let's not do the V'ahavta in Hebrew. Let's just read the English. Again, a brave soul for the first paragraph. There'll be 4 paragraphs, nice and loud. And let's read it up.
Where are we now?
We're at page 4.
The Ahavta.
I'll read. The first paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
V'ahavta. And it will come to pass, if you love the transformative power of the universe with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your passions, and using that energy, build a world based on these mitzvot, a world of love for the stranger, the other, kindness, generosity of care, peace, compassion and nonviolence, social, economic, and environmental justice, and ecological sensitivity, then the world will work. The sun will shine, the rain will fall, the earth will give forth its produce, and you and your animals will eat and be satisfied. But be careful.
Yeah, let's get someone else. Here we go.
But be careful, watch out, because if you don't build a world based on these mitzvot, and instead build a world based on selfishness and greed, consuming and producing without care for the well-being of the planet or its inhabitants, constantly chasing and hoarding after money, power, fame, or land, then the world will not work. The sun won't shine, the rain won't fall appropriate to its season, the earth will not give forth her produce. There will be an environmental catastrophe, and you and your animals will likely perish.
And next paragraph.
So teach this to your children. Talk about it in public, even when your voice cracks and your knees shake. At services and events, talk about it in private with friends and family, even if they are sick and tired of hearing about it. Talk about it when you walk by the way so that strangers hear this message, because this is the greatest spiritual need and calling of our time. Talk about it when you go to sleep at night, and when you get up in the morning, because you'll forget. Find it for a sign upon your arm, so it seeps into your heart and guides your actions, and a sign upon your third eye, so it seeps into your unconscious, permeating every cell and pore of your being. Write it for a sign upon your doorposts and gates, so that you remember and all those who come into your home know the values by which you live.
And someone
God
else.
spoke to Moses saying, tell the children of Israel to wear tzitzits on the corners of their garment, to put a blue thread in the tzitzits as an indication of the beauty of the universe, to look at the tzitzits as a reminder of these mitzvot, so they can understand. I am the transformative power of the universe, who brought you out of the narrow consciousness of slavery, of constriction, to show you that the systems and structures of oppression and that the world could be fundamentally healed and transformed. I am that force in truth.
So, thoughts about the words?
Well, it seems like it was written yesterday. I
No,
mean,
it
it could
was
say,
written this
everything
morning.
that's, it could be written for yesterday.
It could have been.
What's going on in the world right now.
It could have
And
been.
how long ago was this written?
Probably,
Somebody's interpretation.
No, this is an interpretation.
Right, but
Yes.
how
it's about
long
20 years ago.
So 20 years ago.
Oh, I didn't know.
So
Right.
Rabbi Michael Lerner, for those of you who follow some of what he does, is the founder of the Jewish magazine Tikkun, very scholarly magazine. He passed away a year ago, I think now, maybe 2. And Kat Zavis wrote this, and I've been using it in services as part of or in supplement to the Via Hafta. It's the Via Hafta reinterpreted. Those of us who are Reform and are used to the Reform Siddur are not used to 4 paragraphs in the Via Hafta. The Via Hafta has 4 paragraphs. One of them dealing with tzitzit. It's not usually the last one, it's actually the third to last one. So he changed the order. But there's something about, I mean, to me, the idea of prayer and Torah should be that it's relevant now. What is incredibly distressing is when I read some of these things written from perhaps a militant perspective, a thoughtful perspective, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and they feel like they could have been written this morning. It really does say something. And Michael, if you know your history, Michael was arrested by the Nixon administration as part of the Seattle 7, way back when, these folks who were protesting against the government. He put out a new book just before COVID. I took him on a book tour around Boston to talk about the book and sell the book, called Revolutionary Love. And it's really quite extraordinary. It's a manifesto on the fact that we can change the world through love and through kindness. It's so relevant to right now. I'm reading it again. One of the things he talked about, and I think it's always so funny when I remember it, is that there's one chapter that opens up with a conversation about Dr. Martin Luther King. He says, King never said, "I've got a complaint." He said, no one listened to him. He said, "I have a complaint." He said, "I have a dream." So how we step into what our concerns are and framing it makes an enormous difference to the person who's listening to us. Right? I have a complaint about this government. I have a complaint about this rule. Yeah, okay. There's the complaint department over there. I have a dream about how the world really should be. Well, okay. Maybe I'm going to listen to that. Maybe not, but it's so interesting, the power of coming from that place. Michael by no means was a Gandhi. He brought this just intellectual approach to his understanding, his insights into Judaism. If you read any of the old Tikkun magazines, they're hard. It really is an education to get through them. Anyway, I love this particular version. At my Chabura, we use this. We have actually 5 different interpretations from different people. And it's always fascinating to me to see where someone is coming from. I use this as an exercise. I teach a 6th grade class. And this year, for the first time, we got it started last year, but not a lot of progress. I'm trying to get these 6th graders who are prepping for their B'nai Mitzvah to write 9 of the Shachrit, 9 of the morning prayers in their own interpretation. And they're absolutely stumped. And I bring them something like this or something else. And it was actually Solomon who got me started on how to do this. And he doesn't know I give him this much credit because I asked him, he's a student here, so many of you probably know who he is. I had Solomon, I guess, for 3 years, if not more. And there were times he wanted to challenge me and times he was, give me an interesting answer. And for 2 years, we wrestled with this question about who is God or what is God? And I hope I don't embarrass him with the story because I've told it in other places. But it was real life here in this room. We were in our classroom upstairs. I said, what is God? Now, whether he was trying to give me a real answer or an answer to get some attention, I don't know. I treated it sincerely. And he said, God is an Oreo cookie. And the class, of course, thought that was the funniest thing. And I said, well, tell me more about that. And whether he was then stuck in a corner, because now we had to deal with it, because I took him seriously, or not, he said, well, I like Oreo cookies, and I like God, and so God's an Oreo cookie. And we stuck with that for 2 years. And I don't know if it ever surfaced ever again. And to me, it was just so powerful to say, here's a teacher that really listened to what I just said. Doesn't know if I'm being, and actually credits me and gives me my opinion and space to have an opinion and thinks it's important. That's like so much what I want to bring when I'm in a synagogue and when I'm leading a service. Is what we're all saying is important, right? Even reading this and realizing it feels like it could have been written this morning, right? I'm gonna engage Tug in this here if we can. Mika Mocha, as we talked about in the very beginning, is the prayer where we cross the sea. Miriam starts playing with her timbrel, with or without jingles, and 600,000 women join her singing. Well, there's a Christian hymn, We're Walking in the Light of God, that's been brought into Judaism by a Jewish musician by the name of Saul Kay, who combined that melody with Mika Mocha text. And then he decided one day, let's combine that with Zulu and add the South African language for this idea of walking or marching in the light of God. And before we do it, first of all, having a native speaker helps me so much.
Well,
Ish. And
by the way, I should say, every white child in South Africa in the apartheid told me that they still grew up in the lap of a black woman. Sir, so I can actually sing you Jesus Loves Me. Which I'm happy to do.
Another time. But can you tell us a little bit of the story of the Siyahamba, though, itself?
I don't know the full story of it. You know, hamba is the word for walking in Zulu. So when somebody leaves, it's a hamba dashe, walk with grace. So Siyahamba, we are walking in the light of God. And God in Zulu is Siyahamba Muganye Nkosi, which means Lord. There's a soccer team called Nkosi for Lords, but Nkosi means God. So, but in Zulu, when you speak it, you know, the way it's spoken, it's of course.
Thank you. That's generally how we're going to try to pronounce it. And it's also because it's got an African flavor to it. It's a good place to bring some drumming in at the same time. So English, Hebrew, a little drumming in between, and then I'll invite Tug to give us the last verse, and then we'll come back to the Hebrew one more time. Okay? Want to give us a key? Walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light of God. Go on to the next part. We are walking. We are walking. We are walking in the light of God. Again. We are walking. We are walking. We are walking in the light of God. Mika mocha ba'elim Adonai. Mika mocha nedar b'kodesh. Mika mocha ba'elim Adonai. Mika mocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora. drumming. If you want to get up and do that with Tug, please get up and do that with her. If you want to dance with it too. Quotes. See ya, Hamba, can win 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 quotes. See ya, Hamba. Siamba, kukayan kwenko. Siamba, kukayan yanko. Mikamoka ba, Imadonai. Mikamoka nedarbako. Mikamoka ba, Mikamoka nedarbekode Noga Tehilo Osefe Noga Tehilo Osefe Yai dai dai Yai dai 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 Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Dai 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 dai. Those crazy Jews. So the Chavurah that I come from, where a lot of this text is coming from, we have a lot of dancers in our community, body workers, healers, massage therapists. We start every service off with a half an hour of yoga and qigong, and then some drumming, and then music and the service. It's all creative English. Some of the Michael Lerner interpretation we've incorporated as well. Music from Holly Near to Styx to whatever's current out there in the Jewish world, bringing kind of all that together. And my sense is, if we can find a way to bring it into a holy community and treat it in a holy way, then it's a holy song. Jews don't have a monopoly on the words that are holy and sacred. Lots of people have been writing these words, and their thoughts and ideas are so powerful. So coming from a place like this, where we can incorporate a Christian text, a Jewish text, and then an Afrikaan text that is based in a Christian text, to me is just such a wonderful way of just unifying us. When I led the Shema during our Shema, I did it in ASL. I worked with Rabbi Darby Lee in Concord, who's a deaf rabbi, and if you've never met him, go out of your way one day to meet him. He's brilliant, and he's He's adapted that Shema many times, and the current adaptation I think is so beautiful. I've learned so much about the Shema by leading it, because he starts with this, which when you're deaf, you can't hear, you can't listen. So he doesn't use the sign for listen or hear. He uses the sign for pay attention, which completely shifted what the prayer meant for me. And then when he gets to the last word, echad, instead of echad, one, he goes to the word connectedness, right? The idea that the Shema is a prayer about being connected somehow escaped my vocabulary most of my life. And I saw him and went, of course that's what it means. How wonderful. So we have these things to add and to bring together. And I really like respecting where they come from, and then also how do we incorporate them so that they're meaningful to us. And also out of respect for where it's coming from. Right? It's not cultural appropriation. It's, which, frankly, playing an African drum in the middle of a white community, it feels like cultural appropriation. How do we add the Middle Eastern drums and the other drums? Well, the reality is we were a tribal culture and we were drummers. Might not have been these drums. Could have been those, right? The toph kind of, in my mind, looks like these smaller drums. I'm good with that. Okay. Amidah, look at that. Okay. Want to lead us in?
And then we don't have a prayer book. That's okay.
It's okay. We probably know how the Amidah goes. So we'll do the standing prayer, the Amidah, the tefillah, the opening blessing, which isn't in your book,
Sorry.
and then take a few minutes to reflect silently of kind of what's on your mind. Again, today is, for me, an activation day. You know, this idea of I have a precious human life and I'm not going to waste it. So does that mean that I have to go out and march on No Kings? Does that mean that I have to post on Facebook? Does that mean that I just have to say something nice to my neighbor? Does that mean I just have to have a breath sometimes when I get overly anxious? It can be any of those things. The invitation is, and the Via Hafta tells us that, right? If we don't talk about it when we walk by the way, if we don't talk about it when people get sick and tired of hearing it, then we're not doing the things that Judaism tells us to do. It might just be with each other. It might be with a neighbor. Maybe we're hearing stuff politically and we shy away. We don't want to talk about it. And we're being invited, don't try to say something. Even if you just say it to a couple of people. You know, there's so much to talk about. And that's an action. It shows you're interested. So let's rise for the Amidah. And face the ark.
Wait, I'm all messed up here. What am I?
Microphone choreography should be taught in school.
Okay. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Sfatai Tivta. Na 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 Ufiagi. Ufiagi Tehilatecha. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Sfatai Tivta. Na 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 Ufiagi. Ufiagi Tehilatecha.
Ooh, the sun comes right out. I'll say shalom.
Can you do the drums?
Yeah, we'll drum with you.
Oh, say shalom bimroma. Oh, yeah, I say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ve'imru. Amen. Say shalom bimroma.
A little faster.
Oh, yeah, I say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ve'imru. Oh, say shalom bimroma. Ooh, yeah, I say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ve'imru. Amen.
I was just going to end it there.
Ve'imru.
There's a journey through Shabbat services. There's a journey through every service. There's all kinds of mystical explanations about where we journey to and where we journey from. And what's fascinating to me is the journey starts off greeting each other and saying hello, and isn't it nice to be together? Sort of in the real world. All right, we just get out of our cars, we wander in, we're going, hey, how are you? Nice to see you. I'm glad we're amongst friends. We say certain prayers, each one of them have kind of an energy to them. And we kind of elevate ourselves throughout the service. And then we hit sort of the top, the peak of that elevation with the Amidah, with this silent prayer, the first opportunity that we have to talk to God, ourselves, one-on-one, in that prayer. Either whether we're saying the prayers out loud or we're saying something silently, that's that opportunity. And at least for me, and I don't know if you know, if you saw me do it, I don't know if the rabbi does it or not, is I always take 3 steps backwards when I start the Amidah, and then 3 steps forward. It's a tradition. Some synagogues don't follow the tradition. To me, it's kind of simple and powerful. I take 3 steps back because I'm about to talk to God. I'm like, whoa, I'm about to talk. This is like important, right? I'm going to talk to the principal of school. I'm going to go talk to the, maybe I'm in trouble. I'm going to take a couple of steps back, and now I'm got to get my confidence back. I took that breath, and now I'm going to step into what I have to say, and that activation. And then I say what I have to say silently, or the prayers that are on the page. And then we're starting to come in for a landing. That begins that spot in the service where we come in for a landing. And that's when we start to read Torah. And I find it interesting that the text that we think is the absolute most important thing is not the pinnacle of the service. It's actually after we've done like that really hard thing, we talk to God. We had a little bit of a moment, right? There's a warm up. We got to get ourselves ready. And it all kind of leads up to that. And now we're going to read the word, that really most important word. And then we're going to keep coming in for a landing and keep coming in for a landing. It's just so powerful to me that we elevate the Torah, as well it should be, and yet it's not the most important thing. It is an important thing. And it's after we've done sort of all of the calisthenics and all the things we have to do to kind of get ready to come down and land again. And I just love that. And without the explanation, I kind of, why is the Torah service here instead of over there, instead of over here? And it starts to make sense, the energy that we bring into. In fact, the speed of the song, the fact that Oseh Shalom speeds up a little bit, right? We're like, okay, really, we're ending the Amidah. I'm kind of excited to get to this next part, you know. Anyway, that's good of my pontification on the space of and the shape of the service. Rabbi.
I'm just going to say a couple words about our Torah portion this week. We're in Parshat Vayera, and this is one of the most jam-packed parshiot that we really have. It begins with the after effects of the covenant that Abraham has struck with God, and that part of the bargain was that Abraham would circumcise himself, and that's where we all get circumcision from. Much prefer to do it as an 8-day-old infant versus Abraham's age. It was not a comfortable experience for him, and so he was in a lot of pain. They also didn't have a lot of drugs. So he was in a lot of pain, and he was at the gates or at the opening of his tent when he sees 3 people in the distance, and he jumps up. He gets up and he goes to them to invite them in to his tent. And he runs to his wife Sarah to say, let's put some soup on, or let me have guests, we have to feed them, and he washes their feet. And you read this, and it's as if his pain has completely dissipated. Whatever he was feeling before has been pushed away because there was something more important. And as Mitch has been reminding us all morning, we are a tribal community. That is our origins. We were a community of people who lived together, who worshiped together, and who created our own society together. And part of that society was the importance of hospitality and doing for others. Truly something that we do not emphasize much in the West. It feels very not to emphasize these days. But I find it to be such an important comment that the Torah is reminding us. There can be a lot of things happening in our own bodies, in our own souls. We can be incredibly troubled and restless and confused and pained. I think many people are feeling that pain today. Not just today. And it can sometimes stop you in your tracks. That pain can get so overwhelming that you don't know how to move forwards. And especially when there's things happening all the time, you can feel so stuck. You feel incredibly stuck and paralyzed. But what is it that can help us out of that space? Actually, it is giving to others. It is prioritizing doing something for someone else over experiencing whatever is happening in our own souls. Because sometimes you can't magically make that go away. And we need to figure out, how do we move forward even when we are feeling such tremendous confusion and fear and yes, pain. And the Torah continues to tell us, you have to do for others. You have to reach out your arms and bring people in. You have to wash their feet. You have to humble yourself in your own experience in honor of someone else's. And that has a tremendous effect on who we are and how our souls can feel. Because suddenly we are not alone in that pain, and we are not alone in that confusion. We are reminded that we are part of a community and that we have the ability to make a difference in people's lives. No, we cannot change the world around us in totality, but we have incredible power to change one person's life. I said this last night, and I'll say it again. Anytime you are feeling like this world is so overwhelming and you don't know what to do, take one can from your pantry and bring it to a food bank, or bring it right here to Bread of Life. Because you have just fed someone, and that is not nothing.
Mm-mm.
If we all can find one thing to do each day, you'll realize that there is a way to move forwards and to move through, not by discounting your pain or your anger, but by leaning into it and letting that drive you. Take those feelings and take that experience and say, I am not going to be brought down, even though it's so easy that it could be. We need to embrace Abraham. We need to be Abraham and jump up at the opportunity to do something for someone else, because that is honestly the best thing we can do for ourselves. So as we move through this next period of time where we know we have community members in great, great need, just remember there are many ways to do something concrete in our community. And that is incredibly important. And that is spreading the peace and love that is possible, that is truly possible. And I do believe will be part of the creation of this moment. I have to believe that there will be some major consequence to what we are going through. And it might not be anytime soon. It might not be next week or next month. It might not be next year. I don't know how long the kind of narrow place we are in right now will last. But I do know that every time humanity has gone through those narrow straits, we have come out into a new place and a new era of understanding what we could do. So it is hard now, but do not lose the vision of what tomorrow could bring and how we all have a hand in creating that possibility. So
Shabbat Shalom.
On that note, tonight is the food drives fundraiser. It's at Memorial Hall from 6 to 9 tonight. And it is expensive, but you know what? The money goes to the food drive. And you'll be able to taste all the food from around Melrose and Walton area. And it's the biggest fundraiser. So if thinking about a way to give back, tonight would be a great night.
Bruce is starting.
And Bruce Gertz is playing. It's at Memorial Hall from 6 to 9 tonight. And it will be a buffet of foods from all around and all kinds of things. So put your money where your mouth is. That's my mother would
Put
say.
your mouth where your money.
Put them in both places. No, it's very much fundamental of Judaism to step up. And I'm not ignoring you. All I can see is a sunspot over here when I look this way. And it is definitely troubling times. And somewhere in all of it, I really put the invitation out to find even a little bit of joy or find a way to put some things aside. I'm working with a very dear friend, and I'm going to put her daughter's name in the healing prayer, who is a brilliant Jewish artist and liturgist and just publishing a book. I just edited it. It will be ready in January. It's 200 pages long of art of every parsha and a poem and calligraphy and all that with it. We're about the same age. She moved back to Pennsylvania to be with her parents last year, who are in their 90s and need some help. And Dad fell down like 3 weeks ago, broke 5 ribs and has pneumonia. And he's back playing the cello though, so he's back out there again now. And then a couple of weeks after that happened, she found out that her daughter, who is a Jewish singer-songwriter and who just celebrated the birthday of her daughter, the first birthday of her daughter, has stage 4 breast cancer and going through all kinds of issues. And now the whole family is taking up the idea of let's be activists in getting people tested for BRCA and all of this. Not that they have that, but that's just what comes out of the sadness is an interest in being activated and doing something very positive. It can't be easy for someone to be taking care of their parents and their child and have that going on at that level simultaneously and still try to keep their career going and do what they do. And so I try to make a phone call once a day and just, I don't even say, how are you doing? I'm just, hello. Because how you're doing is if she ever were to tell me, I'm sure it wouldn't come out easily or maybe too easily. She just wants to know that the world, and she's a firm believer in healing prayers. Not that healing prayers are going to cure anybody. I don't believe we as Jews feel like it's going to be a miracle and they'll be cured. I do feel that it elevates the energy of what we're doing, and the person who we're praying for feels it and senses it, and the world itself is better for having held this healing prayer. So as we step into a healing prayer, I tend to like the prayer that Moses said for his sister Miriam, sister on timbrels and Miriam and all of that, to please God, heal her. And so that's going to be the invitation. That will be the music that will play. I don't know your minhag, so I wanted to.
If you were in need of healing, or someone you love is in need of healing, in their mind or body or spirit, you're invited to say those names out loud in your heart.
Jonathan.
Ian Greenberg.
Jane Wilson.
Mike Berger, Daniel Berger.
Matthew.
Diddy Kibble.
And Samantha Trentner.
You can find the word as a conversation.
So for all those people who are in our hearts, our thoughts that we expressed out loud, let's again start with our heartbeat, since I think that connects us all. And imagine whether you're in your drum circle or you're home alone, and you connect with your heartbeat and you tap into that pulse of whatever is going on in the earth or the universe. It does connect us. Ana Elna, Ana Elna, Ana Elna, Rifana Lao, Ana Elna, Ana Elna, Ana Elna, Rifana Lao, Ana Elna, Ana Elna, Ana Elna, Rifana Lao. Weird a place to go into Elena, or do you have something? Oh, you're doing the Torah. The Elena. So the Elena is the prayer in our Shabbat service, in our services, that is probably very familiar. Elena Shabbat, that. And yet sometimes we don't know why it's there. How often do you spend time opening your Mishkan Tefillah and reading the English and reading the footnotes about what we're praying? Probably not often. It's really interesting. And folks like the rabbi and myself and Beth have had to study some of that. And the invitation of reading, it's there for a reason. And so many prayer books have interesting stuff down there. It's not asking you to be a scholar, just like I'm not asking you to be Buddy Rich or anything here. And the Elenu suggests to us it's up to us to now do something. We've prayed, we've spoken to God, we've read the Torah on certain days of the week, we warmed up and sang some songs, we were in community and grateful to be together, and we're about to leave. Hopefully, as people and our energy, we're elevated maybe a fraction of an inch. I mean, about a fraction of an inch is an elevation. Hopefully, we got that. And Rabbi Jack Reamer suggests a little bit more of a push to that. So the invitation is like we have been doing. Somebody read the first paragraph, somebody the next, and the next. It goes on for 2 pages. And let's try, if we can, the last paragraph for all of us to read together. And if someone who hasn't read yet would like to try, otherwise just pick yourself and go when you're ready. It's in your prayer book. Page 6. Go ahead.
I'll go. We cannot merely pray to you to end war. We know you made the world in a way that we must find our own path of peace within ourselves and with our neighbor.
We cannot merely pray to you to root out prejudice, for you have already given us eyes with which to see the good in all people, if we would only use them rightly.
We cannot merely pray to you to end starvation, for you have already given us the resources with which to feed the entire world, if we would only use them wisely.
We cannot merely pray to you to end despair, for you have already given us the power to clear away slums and to give hope. We can only use our power justly.
We cannot merely pray to you to end disease. You have already given us great minds with which to search out cures and heal them, if we would only use them constructively.
And together. Therefore, we pray to you instead for strength, determination, and willpower, to do instead of just to pray, and to become instead of merely to wish. Amazing. I don't think I have read that out loud since all kinds of things have been going on. So it was written yesterday.
We come now to the Mourner's Cottage. In our community, we are thinking of Bessie B. Loshi, Janet Mann, Samuel Silverman, Paul Seidman, Abraham E. Chesler, Lawrence D. Levine, Lillian Rogers, Philip Kinberg, Ruth Outlaw, Gertrude Shergan, Alice R. Klein. During a period of mourning, or so New York, I invite you to say these names out loud. We think of all of those who have died in disasters, both natural and man-made. We think of all of those who have died fighting for their freedoms. We think of those who have died in Israel and in Gaza. We think of all those who died in the Shoah. We think of all those who have left to say short. You're invited to rise as you're able. On the back of your copy.
Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah. Yalmad divrach yirutei v'yamlif malchutei. V'chayachon u'vyom echon. V'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael. Ba'agalav v'zman kariv imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam u'la'omei almayan. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar v'yit halev v'yit halal shmei l'kudusha b'rechu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbakata v'nechamata. Damiram v'yalma v'imru. Amen. Hey Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael. V'imru Amen. Say shalom b'imromav. Uya say shalom. Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael. V'imru Amen. Amen.
I'll just throw out a couple of announcements. Tomorrow, Sunday. The third session of the Intro to Hebrew class is Monday night. So if you haven't started and you want to, now is probably the last time that you should jump in. We have tour studies tomorrow, right?
10 o'clock.
I think Tuesday, the 11th, is our next Israel conversation. So the last thing that we have done together was we saw the movie The Other, and so I'm going to start kind of from that place, and we'll move forward in our discussion then. And your email.
Thursday is drumming.
Thursday is drumming.
Oh, cool.
There's a lot of things going on, and so check your emails, check the calendar, and email me if you have any questions.
One more thing on the food thing. Out in front of Shaw's, the veterans are collecting food all until 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Good to know. And then with the drums, first of all, thank you all for your kindness in playing them and being here with me. I'm always flattered to be here. If your drum you're using is mine, it may have come with a case under your chair. Not all of them have cases. So when we're done, I'm just going to invite you to please put it in. Some of the zippers work, some of the zippers don't work. Put it in the best you can, and that's going to help us eventually get them back out to my car. But let's finish up with a closing song.
Hold your bow. Hold your bow.
Oh, shalom aleinu.
Hold your bow, shalom aleinu. Hold your bow, shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Hold your bow, shalom aleinu. Hold your bow, shalom aleinu. Hold your bow, shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam. Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Oh, Yavo shalom aleinu. Oh, Yavo shalom aleinu. Oh, Yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Oh, Yavo shalom aleinu. Oh, Yavo shalom aleinu. Oh, Yavo shalom aleinu.
Following here. I'll do. Shabbat shalom. Thank you all. Thank you, Tug, for bringing us.
Thank you, Mitch. Yes.
This is so much fun.
A huge thank you to our ONEG group.
Yes.
We cannot say thank
Thank you, ONEG Group. There are certain ones I'm not, but do you have something in mind?
Oh, wait a minute.